most light workers and the black sheeps in our society had to go through challenging beginning. Simply, that is the uh, forward start to their old soul, um, because inherently they are carrying a lot of wisdom in their vessel. But when you're a little person, it doesn't mean it's any easier for you. But the very first time you are learning about yourself and you get into your spiritual path is when you have these challenging family dynamic. You're sort of a nonconformist little child, and a little stubborn, kind of want to do their own thing. So then you kind of get labeled because the adults soon realize there's something different about you. Perhaps they are trying to mold you into their system or their culture or their way of life. So then these little children know better because they ask questions. What is the meaning of these religious things or these traditions? And uh, I am not comfortable doing something that is not aligning with my thoughts. These little children behave in this manner. So the very first time you hear these discussions among adults, the sort of stubborn is kind of embarrassing the family kind of thing. But you soon realize this is far from the truth. You know you're a good person. You know your intention is much deeper because you're curious and you want to feel your mind, body, and spirit even from that very young age, because you don't want to do things because everyone else doing it for hundreds of years. You have to have a valid reason for everything in school. If you are not able to question, I am not going to be programmed into something that you want me to. You are supposed to be equipped to answer a valid question where a child has in school. But then soon you realize people are against you and they're isolating you, and they're really not comfortable with your kind of life and your style of life that you're starting with. So these are the very early memories of your spiritual path, because you're starting to go on in your environment. You're trying to understand how the ecosystem work and your animal kingdom, and you're building these rapport and connection with these a non-hostile ecosystem, because you value the feeling when you're out in the environment. You value the feeling when you're holding a pet or animal. You kind of learn to communicate a different language in these circumstances. This is the beginning of light workers, and they are very confident about ignoring what they don't need to hear for their spiritual elevation. So then you become more over time you become more confident about your convictions, and you are not a destructive person because you do things differently, but your curious mind, you have to fuel your mind, body, and spirit. You have to go into these divine path, because mundane things, what everybody else is doing, are really not doing much for your progress. So then everyone is so hostile towards these individuals because we challenge, we're shining a light where they don't want anyone to see because of these weaknesses or the areas that they haven't addressed, but they can improve. While you're staying in the current state of mind, you always have room to improve. But it's challenging because we are so reluctant to follow divine leadership. We're so reluctant to follow something that maybe you should explore in more depth. But we do the easier thing. We turn into this programming system in, the TV is the more popular thing, and it's the easiest thing because we're not looking at ourselves. We're always looking at someone else, the external factors. They're not everything bad, but the thing is, though, when you're a balanced person, when you're a really balanced person, you're not going to get surveyed very easily from the pressure from the external world, because you already have this moral compass within you from your youth. You're going to see something more beyond other than the surface level. So this is why these spiritually inclined people are coming forward now, because they had all these experiences. They know right from wrong. They know the areas that need to be improved and the areas that we have to question, because somebody said this is good for you. It doesn't mean it's have any value for you. So therefore you're going to be more selective with everything that you do. It doesn't mean that you cannot be entertained. It doesn't mean that you are such a boring, exhausting person to be around. But we feel the same way about our external world. It is exhausting to engage in something that is like making you programmed or deceive you, and there's no accuracy into anything. So therefore it is important for us to line up with these divinely guided or connected individuals, so that we can improve our level of consciousness, and it's going to help you. Eventually it is for your benefit, because we can pretend AI is going to do everything, and technology is the most important thing. But the truth is, people need to be cared for. People need love. People need connections. People need to be social with other people, and getting hooked up into some kind of device is never going to satisfy you. This is why these addictions and addiction problems and the mental health problems, and we cannot cope for the simplest thing, because we're so prone to follow our emotions, and we don't know how to manage difficult emotional crises, because we don't have this kind of courage built. But it is possible to overcome all these challenges.